Hello everyone and welcome to our movie and series analysis videos wherein we will be diving deep into the core film aspects and understand why do we like a particular film so much. Today we will be analyzing the season 2 of Kota Factory. The two most appealing factors to me here are its direction and cinematography. So let's get started. Point number 1, the representation of the factory. An important aspect of a film is how well is it able to convey what it wants to convey through representation. It could be through frames, dialogues, characters, set or any other thing. This season is all about the problems that students in Kota face, be it on an academic front or personal stuff. The message to convey here I think is being in Kota has side effects, just like smoke coming out of a factory, shown in the opening and closing shots of the season. The series further manages to evidently represent students studying like machines and the classes as businesses in the factory. Look at how the students follow a synchronized typecast patterns like that of machines in a factory. For example, while taking the pledge or while turning the pages in the class. A brilliant cinematography aspect that we observed here is that most of the shots in Maheshwari classes are straight line movements, as if they are bound to the way product move when they are manufactured. Whereas that is not the case in Jitu's class. The camera movements are more free over there. All the aspects that relate the classes to factories are broken down when it comes to Jitu's class, be it synchronized movements, dress code, camera movements, or even character movements. His class is by no means a factory. These aspects are very subtle and appeal to the subconscious mind of the audience. Point number 2, show, don't tell. It is often taught in filmmaking courses that film is a visual medium, meaning even if you don't really hear a movie, you should be able to understand it. And one phrase that goes along and is commonplace is show, don't tell. Visual representations are far better and many times more likely to be remembered than dialogues stating what has happened. The director's role is most crucial in this. Starting off with very small things, like Vaibhav's shift from Prodigy to Maheshwari classes is depicted by the books that he places in the bag. To establish that Maheshwari is approaching Jitu, we just see a small reflection of Amor's classes on his car's window. What we see even more is that the descriptions of thoughts, characters, and feelings are not told but evidently shown. For example, Maheshwari's character is very intimidating to the students. This is shown through a low angle shot on Maheshwari. What a low angle shot does is that it makes the character look larger than it actually is and makes it look authoritative, dominating, and at times even scary. Vaibhav's fears are depicted through a single reaction shot when a boy does a calculation so fast as to make Vaibhav think that he lacks a lot. The fact that Vaibhav can somewhat cope up with chemistry and maths but none at all with physics is brilliantly shown through the montage and again very few dialogues like. As you can clearly see. Another small instance is when the prodigy class owner purchases a topper. It is quite evident that he doesn't really want to do it, but else he will fall out of the competition. So he turns his back before agreeing to it. Doesn't really want to show his face because he is somewhat ashamed of it. All these points help the audience register what is intended in a better fashion. A bonus here is that sometimes don't even show creates a better impact than showing what has happened. This is in the last scene when we just hear the shouts for Varnali and just the ambulance sirens.
The darker side is revealed, and notice how the lights on Jitu's face point out the same thing.
Point number 3, camera as a character. Camera is the eye of the audience when the scene is shot. Oftentimes, the director wants the audience to actually be a part of the scene rather than just be a third person spectator. In achieving this, the camera angles play a very important role, and in Kota Factory Season 2, this device is used in an apt fashion. As I already pointed out, Maheshwari's speech is very intimidating to the students, and for the audience to experience that, they should feel as if they are really present at the auditorium along with them. The speech is very climatic and gets more and more intense. So the camera starts off as an audience perspective and gradually moves in so close to Maheshwari that it incites fear. And once we are put in that state, it is the right time to point out how Vaibhav is actually feeling. The next shot is called as a vertigo shot because of its first use in the movie Vertigo by Alfred Hitchcock. The camera gradually pushes in and zooms out at the same time. This establishes two things. It brings back Vaibhav's story to focus, and by showing Vaibhav among other people, points out that he is no different and is again a part of the crowd. Another instance when we really feel as if we are present at the scene is the intense conversation between Jeetu and Meena, or when Varnali is checking out her results. The extreme close shots and the topic of discussion itself put us in a spot and make us feel uncomfortable. Camera has also helped in further establishing a character. When Vaibhav is talking to Maheshwari, he is shown busy signing checks through the reflection. This strengthens Maheshwari's character as authoritative and dominant. I really liked this experimental depiction, but by far the best example of brilliance in direction and camera work is the scene when Jeetu is interviewing Sarika. They start off in a very formal setting with Jeetu sitting across the table. But at a point, they touch a different aspect of how Sarika being a woman is beneficial. This conversation is informal and somewhat intimate. So Jitu gets up breaking the formal setting and sits closer to Sarika in a comforting position, thereby moving to the right hand side of the frame. There is an imaginary line between two characters in any scene called as the 180-degree line. It is a traditional rule that all the camera angles should only be on one side of that line and shouldn't cross. It really looks weird and abrupt if it does. However, rules have exceptions and are sometimes intentionally broken. This is done when there is a shift in opinion, thought process, or a new revelation, or similar stuff when something about the character drastically changes. Here, when Jitu takes an informal stance, Sarika is convinced that she is a good choice for a chemistry teacher. Thus, we cross the 180-degree line, indicating that Sarika is now on board. Again, without any explicit dialogues. Point number 4, symbolism. Films are intended to have a deeper meaning. A true work of class goes far beyond the shallow meaning of dialogues, events, and incidents. For example, when Sushrut is frustrated about why is he really pursuing the IIT dream, somewhere deep down there is still a hint of confusion in Vaibhav's mind as well. And whatever Sushrut says is rekindling those thoughts. Sushrut is Vaibhav's reflection in some aspects, and that is brilliantly shown by both complementing the other's half face and Vaibhav eventually trying to move away from those thoughts. Similarly, the parrot symbolizes how the character was just byhearting inorganic chemistry, or that Vaibhav and Sushrut would be confined in a cage if they continued just like him. Later, after talking to Jitu, when Sushrut sets off on a presumably new journey, the similarity between his and Jitu's stage of life is brilliantly depicted again through reflection. The audience really loved the scene when Jitu's car takes a turn and follows a different path because that was quite an evident symbolism. Another one is when Vaibhav is unable to get out of Maheshwari's classes to attend Jitu's class. He tries to settle with the guard 3 times, and during all of those, he is shown trapped in a frame. Whereas, lastly, when he is finally allowed to go, the frame is freer. At the time of the results, the room in Maheshwari's classes is itself a representation of Maheshwari's mind with all the nervousness and chaos going on in the background. That was very subtle. So, which points did you notice while watching the series? And which ones did you like the most? And did we miss any? Do let us know in the comments. Also, your suggestions to analyze any movie or series are welcome. Thanks a lot for watching.